morning guys, TJ here. Today I'm back out at Copper. We got a little bit of fresh snow overnight and we're gonna be doing a resort test here on the Weston Japow. I've already done a backcountry powder test. We'll get into that a little bit later, but for now, let's get into the review. All right, for reference, I'm 5'10", I weigh 155 pounds, and I'm riding the Japow in a 159. This is obviously a powder focused shape on the Weston lineup. It's got that classic shape for soft snow with a very directional outline. If you look at these contact points, the widest point on the nose here, you can see there's a significant amount of nose outside those front contact points, really increasing the surface area up front. It also has some directional features, primarily 25mm taper, so the tail of the snowboard is significantly narrower than the nose as well, and it has this beautiful swallowtail. So both the taper and the swallowtail are designed to reduce the surface area in the back of the snowboard. It's going to help keep that nose up naturally and help this thing glide very efficiently through soft, deep powder snow. Another thing I want to highlight on that front is that this board's actually pretty wide. So the 159 has a 26.2 centimeter waist width. So that's also going to increase the overall surface area of the snowboard, again, to help provide more float and just enhance that powder experience. One other thing I want to highlight here on the Japow is the rear contact point is basically at the very end of the swallowtail here. So we're going to have that edge material in contact with the snow for carving all the way out to the end of the tail. So even though, you know, it's missing all this material in the center here for soft snow, it still has a nice benefit that I think is going to give it a really nice feel for carving around the resort and exploring the groomers out here today. And like I mentioned, there is some camber in the profile here, a very slight positive camber bend running from the rear insert pack out to about midway through the nose, where we have a pretty significant rocker, again, to help give this board a little bit of stability and energy, but primarily focus on that soft snow experience. There's going to be a little bit of a rocker release in the tail going out to that swallowtail as well to just help it glide and maneuver a little bit smoother. Other than that, you're going to find some carbon built into this snowboard as well. So there's 2 carbon stringers running from the tip of that swallowtail diagonally towards the rear insert pack. It should have a bit of a directional flex as well, but that's aimed at just giving the tail a little bit more power, a little bit more stability to help compensate for that missing material in the swallowtail. And the last couple things I want to call out is you're going to find Weston's castor bean based rugged nylon top sheet on the Japow. So it's a bit of a textured top sheet. It's going to add a little bit of durability, prevent your foot from slipping around out there, acting as kind of a built-in stomp pad, and should help shed soft snow a little bit more efficiently as well. And you're also going to get a sintered base on this snowboard, which is a higher end base material that's harder and more durable compared to an extruded base. It's known to be a little bit faster as well, but you do want to make sure to wax it regularly to maintain a nice fast feel. And that's it for a tech breakdown on this thing. Let's get these laps going and we'll check in with some feedback on how it's feeling a little bit later. All right, let's jump into things talking about the overall feel and flex you're gonna find in the Japow. So I know oftentimes with these directional powder specific shapes, they tend to be a little bit softer, but I actually found the Japow to be more mid-range or even a little bit on the stiffer side of medium. It offers some decent stability. I think, you know, if you're in the market for a more purpose specific board like this, you're gonna be happy with the stability this board offers. Makes it a little bit more versatile exploring outside of the powder, has a nice torsional flex to match for a little bit more responsive carves, but you can still get some flex and presses going with it if you do enjoy playing around with that stuff, even on these more funky shapes. You know, Weston did design the board with a directional flex, saying that the tail is a little bit stiffer, but with that very directional outline and specifically the swallowtail that removes all that material back there, I found it was easier to get flex out of the tail. So you can sit in a tail press and have that looking nice, and that reverse section of the nose and that big platform that big nose provides makes it a lot of fun playing around with this kind of stuff. You do got to muscle it a little bit in the nose to get a taller press going, I found. but it's not particularly catchy. You know, with that longer nose, you definitely can drive your edge into the snow maybe a little bit easier by mistake. So be paying attention to your edges as you get used to the board. And same goes for the tail with these swallowtail, these like pointy tail snowboards. If you get a little bit too aggressive or maybe just a little bit sloppy, you can drive that tail into the snow. I did that a couple of times with Butters. But yeah, I think that's part of the fun. If you enjoy doing more freestyle creative stuff on these funky directional shapes, I think you can have a lot of fun playing around with that and have a good time. But overall, flex and stability wise, I'd say it's pretty middle of the road, maybe a little on the stiffer side of medium. Gonna have good stability to explore outside of the powder as well and be capable around the resort. All right, park. You know, I took this board through some laps out of the park at Copper, and I just want to preface this section by saying if you're taking a swallowtail in the terrain park, it's for the novelty, it's for the fun, it's for the laughs. It's not to seriously progress your freestyle riding the way that you normally might try to. But with that said, I think you can still have a lot of fun in there and approach that terrain and those features with a bit of a different perspective, which is pretty cool. With that more mid flex, you're gonna get out of the Japow. It's pretty versatile and friendly in the terrain park. And I think playing with snow features like your hips, banks, volcanoes, things like that, playing around with cars and trying to hit weird angles you might not normally explore is a lot of fun with these shapes. But doing regular tricks is good too. A little bit awkward with that long nose on rails specifically, just making sure you're not clipping up. So be a little bit careful in that scenario, but it felt good on jumps. It even landed switch pretty good. I did a few 180s and didn't have any issues there. The only time I had that tail dig into the snow was doing Butters with like a real aggressive edge angle. So no issues in the park, even on that softer snow kind of day. Felt good on jumps, did a few 360s, hucked a backflip, you know, kind of rode through the whole medium line out there at Copper, and had some fun jibbing as well. Got a nose press I was stoked on that felt good, and trying to get that tail, like working on a tail press, trying to get the rail right in the middle was pretty challenging and fun as well. I tried that a couple times, but overall, I would say with that mid flex, you're gonna get in the Japow. It feels pretty comfortable, but definitely more of a novelty at the end of the day. But something I would encourage you to explore if you do get this board. I also want to talk about the carving experience you're going to get with the Japow. And this was one of the biggest highlights for me with the snowboard. It is a ton of fun out there cruising around the resort and playing around on groomers. But two specs I want to throw out there for the review are the waist width and side cut. So it's size 159, you're gonna get a 26.2 centimeter waist. So this board is naturally pretty wide, and I think that that elevates the carving experience significantly, allowing you to trust the board a lot more and just giving you more confidence diving into deeper carves, knowing that your heels and your toes aren't gonna be catching when you're really trying to get after it out there. It does have a progressive side cut as well, so a little bit tighter towards the tail, getting longer towards the front contact points, going from around a 7 meter to a 9 meter side cut. And I think generally around the resort, it does feel like a bit of a longer side cut when you're just casually cruising and carving around. It's a little bit of a longer feeling carve, but when you get more aggressive with it and you're really diving into turns and exiting through the tail, that's when you're gonna feel that tighter side cut a little bit more. But man, this thing is super fun exploring the resort. It is a pleasure on the groomers. It's a board you can really trust. It is a beast out there, and something that I think you're really gonna enjoy exploring with the Japow. Now I will say, if you really open it up and start bombing some hills, you will be able to overpower it eventually. Maybe some like choppy or snow conditions might make things feel a little bit squirrely with that long nose. You might find a little flutter up there when you start to push it. But overall, it is a pleasure to carve and a board that you're really going to enjoy exploring the resort. I was able to get this board out in some pretty awesome conditions here in the Colorado backcountry, as well as get the Japow into some Japow in Japan as well, which I was pretty stoked on. And the biggest highlight for me, the biggest standout, is the versatility in soft snow conditions. This is the type of board that's going to give you that unsinkable kind of float, something you can take out on like a bottomless, low angle, slow speed day. Still going to keep you floating, no problem. While that swallowtail is going to keep it nice and maneuverable as well. I know a lot of times in those conditions, maybe you've experienced turning can feel a little bit sluggish, but I think that swallowtail really shines, keeping the board nice and maneuverable even in that type of condition. And It has the stability to hold it down if you want to explore more steeper, like spicy kind of terrain, hitting some drops, doing more aggressive slashes, or maybe you're in some like slightly more variable condition where you're breaking through the powder to the bottom a little bit. It's going to keep you confident through a wide range of conditions, and just really be a great board to take out anytime you have some fresh snow. At the end of the day, the Japow is going to be a great board to look at if you're trying to fill that very directional, powder specific kind of spot in your quiver. It's a board that's going to float no matter how deep the snow gets. It's a super fun floaty snowboard, but it's also just a dream to carve. Super fun to make turns with. So if you're looking for something that's carvy, floaty, and going to be capable around the resort with a really unique shape, consider the Weston Japow. I'm gonna have this board linked down below this video if you want to read more about it. And if you think I left anything out, drop it down in the comments. Let's get a conversation going. I appreciate you guys. Drop a like if you got some value. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And I'll see y'all in the review next time. Later, guys.